Chosen one, you held a weight that was never designed to be easy. Yeah? And you held it in silence, in a way most people around you could not fully recognize. Not because they did not care, but because what you were navigating existed beyond what ordinary attention can measure. I am not here to simply uplift you. I am here to reflect back something real, something that was witnessed with precision, because you were seen, not in passing, not from a distance, but with a focused awareness that pauses, that studies, that honors what is unfolding. What you moved through was not ordinary, and the way you carried it was not overlooked. It created a response. Not just awareness, but a deep recognition of something rare. This is not dependent on what you do next. It already happened, what you endured, how you responded. It has already left its mark. And the standard you met was not a human one. It was something far deeper, far more demanding than most would ever realize. Stay with me, because understanding this will change how you see yourself now. Let me meet you where you are. Okay, there is a kind of exhaustion that rest cannot fix. Not physical tiredness, but something heavier, something beneath the surface. You have felt it, a quiet weight that follows you even into your calm moments. You tried to explain it once, maybe twice, but the responses you received did not match what you were carrying. So you stopped explaining and you learned to carry it quietly. That quiet place is where this begins. You stayed when walking away would have been justified. You chose restraint when reacting would have been easier. You showed up for people who did not return that same energy. You continued when stopping would have made perfect sense, and most of it went unacknowledged. Not because it lacked value, but because it existed beyond what most people can recognize. But it was seen. Before I go further, I want to name something, because people who carry what you have carried often experience certain patterns. A heaviness without a clear explanation. Not illness, not something easily defined, just a deep weariness that does not lift easily. You wake up with it already there, and it is not weakness. It is the result of carrying something alone for too long. Then there are emotional shifts that seem to come from nowhere, moments of calm followed by sudden sadness. A quiet sense of hope, then a wave of uncertainty, not instability, but something unresolved, moving through you. Your tolerance has changed. What once felt normal now feels overwhelming. Conversations drain you. Spaces feel different. You have not become difficult, you have become aware, and awareness changes everything. You may have experienced vivid dreams. Not necessarily frightening, but intense dreams that feel meaningful, even if you cannot explain them. Your mind working through what your waking life cannot fully process. You notice what others miss. You sense things beneath the surface. You pick up on shifts before they are spoken. You were told you are too sensitive. You are not. You are precise in what you perceive. And beneath all of this, there is a quiet knowing, a sense that this season meant something, that it was not random, that there is a purpose beneath the weight. Every one of these signs points to formation, not failure, and I need you to stay with this because what comes next builds on it. Now understand this. There is a difference between being seen and being deeply observed. Awareness is constant, but focused attention is selective. It is what happens when something stands out beyond expectation. That kind of attention was on you. Not casual, not distant, focused, intentional. And what it produced was not simple approval. It was recognition of something that exceeded expectation. You were seen in your hardest moments, when no one else was there, when the cost was real. when you had every reason to fall apart and chose not to, that mattered. You might be wondering why your experience would carry that kind of weight. That is the right question, because the answer reveals something important about you. Let me show you what stood out. First, restraint. Not basic self-control, but costly restraint. Moments where reacting would have been justified, and you chose not to. That is not weakness, that is strength with discipline. Second, grace when misunderstood. People misread you, and you could have corrected them, but sometimes you chose not to. You trusted something higher than public opinion. Third, belief without visible results. You continued even when nothing confirmed your effort. No clear signs, no immediate outcomes, and just silence, and still you continued. Fourth, choosing purpose over approval. You protected what mattered, even when it cost you acceptance. That is clarity, not stubbornness. Fifth, holding dignity under pressure. You did not collapse into what the situation tried to make you. You remained steady. That is rare. Now look at the contrast. What tried to break you refined you. What tried to provoke reaction created awareness. What tried to diminish you revealed your depth. What looked like loss was actually progress. That is what was recognized. You were not just surviving, you were revealing something that only pressure could bring out, and that changes everything. Because it means this was not wasted, it was purposeful. You were not just enduring, you were demonstrating, and demonstration creates momentum. It sets things into motion. Now, I want you to understand something clearly. Okay? There may be a voice inside you saying this was nothing special, that anyone could have done it, that you simply got through it. That voice is not truth, it is protection. It is the part of you that learned to minimize yourself to avoid disappointment. But accuracy matters. And the accurate truth is that what you carried was not ordinary. And how you handled it was not ordinary either. You are allowed to recognize that, not with pride, but with clarity, because clarity changes how you move forward. You are no longer the same person who entered that season. Something has shifted, something has formed, and what comes next is built on that. You will face challenges again, but you will not question your capacity the same way. You will understand what you are capable of holding. Silence will feel different, not empty but active, not absence but preparation. And the way you see yourself will change. You will stop waiting for external confirmation, because what needed to be established already has been. Now, I want you to do something simple. Think of the hardest moment you went through, the point where continuing felt impossible, where letting go would have been easier. Stay there for a second. Now see it differently. You were not alone in that moment. You were being observed with full attention. What you chose in that moment mattered. It was recorded, it carried weight, and it still does. You have been carrying that season as if it was only loss, but it was also proof. Proof of who you are under pressure. Let that settle. From here, you move differently. You are not the same person who went in. You came out stronger, clearer, more grounded, not louder, but deeper. And that depth will shape what comes next. So carry this forward, not as something you hope is true, but as something that already is, because it is.